And it was quite the day for Florida State's defense. Let's talk about that. They dominated, in my opinion. Mike was a little bit more judicious. We'll get into that here in just a moment. In fact, let's welcome all of you in here. That's Tom. I'm Jeff Cameron Show. Happy Good Friday to everybody, if that's your thing. And yeah, a little doffing of the cap to all you guys. And hope you have a great holiday weekend. We wanted to provide something for you, so we will. Let's talk about that defense really quick. Not really quick. We got an hour, don't we, Tom? We got
Oh,
time.
we got plenty of time. We got
We
time.
got time. We got all kinds. I'm having a Shiner buck.
That's how I know this is a pod and not live on the radio.
Yeah. I'm gonna have myself a little Shiner buck. I've been frustrated by the inconsistency at snapping the football, Tom. Um, they're trying to find a second guy. I mean, Maurice is fine, but they're just trying to find a second guy. And I think they go through the aches and pains of that exploration, and it just feels a little stop-starty to me on offense at times when they're going against this defense. If the defense is playing well, and I thought the defense played well today, or I should say Thursday, and that's going to make it really hard on the offense. Were you surprised at all that, I'll just say it, I don't think the first team offense moved the ball very well at all either.
Yeah, and I wrote that in observations too. I used the first team term. I wonder if Ira cleaned it up for me. I haven't checked yet on
Yeah.
Thursday night as we're recording this. But I guess the more accurate way to put it that makes everybody at ease over there at Florida State would be the Jordan Travis led offense. They might mix in different skill guys, and they do across the board. They might mix in different offensive linemen or even tight ends at certain points. But when Jordan Travis is on the field, there are more players you heard of than not
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
field at the same time. I was surprised. That first 11-on-11 period, they were turned away. It was a 3-and-out with 2 pass breakups and a nothing gain on the ground. That can happen. 3-and-outs happen, and it's no big deal. But then as they kept going in different situational drills, like the 1st-to-10 goal line and then the 11-on-11 late, more times than not, the defense had the solutions. And I wonder if Florida State, at least the offensive coaches, are maybe trying to find other solutions beyond Johnny Wilson and the tight ends. Like they know that Johnny Wilson is going to be an answer to a lot of problems. They know, based upon their success with scheme, that counter is going to get them where they want to go in a lot of situations, or the rail routes to the Lawrence Toafilis of the world is going to be successful. Like, but what else can we do to be successful? And as they're trying to get on that mission and cross-training dudes up front and all across the skill positions as they're experimenting, the defense is in a position to just take over in those stretches. I think that's good, though. I think that's good because if we're cross-training with second-tier guys or less experienced guys at certain positions and they're still dominating the defense, that would be an alarm bell for me. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that the defense does take command in those situations. I'm glad to see that we posited on the air a week ago that, if Jordan Travis is out there, they're just going to move the ball. I'm glad to see that's not always the case. And I can't speak for Tuesday. You were there, I was not. But was it the same kind of thing to you where the defense controlled the action? Because I know that the defense had their moments on Tuesday as well.
Well, I thought Tuesday was weird because they're coming off a scrimmage, and I don't think that they were as locked in as maybe the coaches would have liked. That's my thought. Mike didn't say that, so he may not agree with that assessment at all. But you're beat up a little bit when you come out of a scrimmage. I thought some guys looked like there was some tenderness, and saw a couple guys kind of they're being careful with, as they should be. So I don't know. I thought that was a day where most of the time they were working on technique. They were doing a lot of things to try to rep the way you're supposed to do it, angles, hat placement, all that stuff. As you would coming out of a scrimmage. You're not going to go to war on a Tuesday after a scrimmage. You're not going to do that. So I don't know that anybody won the day. I just thought it was sort of a lackluster day of practice. I also thought that one of the reasons that it was a lackluster day of practice on Tuesday was that today was going to be what it was, which was, a lot more 11-on-11, a lot more. They went into the stadium, so they also did goal line where they got after it with the game up to 10. If the offense scores, that's a point. If the defense stops them, that's a point for the defense. Defense ran away with that because they controlled the line of scrimmage. There were a couple bad snaps in there. I think if you're going to To me, if you're going to highlight an offensive player from today, in my opinion, it continues to be the many ways in which Jaheim Bell makes you better.
Hmm. Yeah.
He's going to be an interesting player for this offense. I think they're going to utilize him in a lot of ways. He looks like an NFL tight end to me, body wise, athletically. So I think they got themselves a stud there, and they're going to utilize that kid. They've got other guys too, but I think he's gonna emerge as the top flight guy.
Well, I think they're still trying to figure out all the ways that they want to use him too.
Yeah,
This is, he could do a lot of things. He ran for a lot of yards at South Carolina. I don't think that that's the primary function here when you have Trey Benson and Toa Feely and Rodney Hill and Keziah Holmes. I don't know that you want Jaheim Bell running for 300 or 400 yards
right,
this season. That's
right.
probably seems like a waste of the resources, but he can do that. He can line up in the backfield and at the end of the line and out wide as a receiver or in the slot. So there's just a whole lot of versatility. And I wonder if they're just stretching the limits or finding what the limits are in these different roles. And then they're going to figure out by the time fall comes around, all right, we've gone out, fanned out wide. Let's pare it down and get it to a
Mhm.
place of you are going to do X, Y, and Z for us. Kyle Morlock's going to do this. Marquise and Douglas is going to do that. And that's how this position all comes together. But when you have somebody who is versatile, I mean, why wouldn't you in a spring setting see what he can do? And Jaheim was, I think, better in individual drills than he was
Yeah,
in 11 on 11. But individual drills were short and sweet on Thursday, just to give people a picture on Warchant TV or on the podcast feed. It was about 45 minutes shorter of a practice than is typical for FSU. And what they trimmed from that 45 minutes, two things. Special teams work was trimmed considerably. I know that breaks your heart. And then the other thing was individual drills. There are so many more periods of one-on-ones in a typical practice than there were on Thursday. Hell of a lot more team, hell of a lot more situational stuff. They worked on overtime. Mike Norvell said that after practice. Drive starting at the 25-yard line on the defensive side of the ball. And then they worked on goal line, 2-point plays, things along those lines as well. So it was a ton of 11 on 11. And it was just that anytime that there was a yard to be gained, 8 out of 10 times, roughly speaking, I felt like 80% the defense was the one to control those plays.
yeah. By the way, to follow up, that is the second straight practice where they've done a lot more team. Um, Ira asked Mike on Tuesday after practice. It's his. I think Ira's question was, it seemed like there was a lot more 11 on 11
Yeah.
today, and then Mike laughed and said, "Uh huh." And then Ira said, "Was that? Why was that?" And then Mike said, "Because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to see,"
Yeah.
which made me laugh.
Well,
Um,
and that's part of it's almost like the procedure of law is, we're supposed to ask Coach Norvell, are you willing to talk about this?
right.
That question was code. Are you willing to
Are
admit
you
on
willing?
the record that
Yeah.
they went for a team? He's I am.
Yeah,
And
and
and we
yeah,
proceed from there. But yeah, a lot of teamwork this week, which is good when you have a long break before next week's preparation for the spring game.
yeah. They have break at the time that you guys are listening to this. They're not doing anything today, and they're obviously the holiday weekend, so nothing Friday, nothing Saturday, nothing Sunday. I don't think anything Monday. Maybe workouts or something, but no practice, obviously. So you got several days where that's why they challenged him with intensity early on today. I think this was an intense practice from a coaching standpoint. They coached him really hard. There was a lot of pointed conversations about effort and the need to pay attention and be where you're supposed to be in a timely fashion. I think they wanted to ride them early, get on them about attention to detail and effort, and then at the end they had a lot of fun.